So what about sibling dynamics? For example, one sibling feels angry because she ends up doing all the work, whether that's caring for parents, solving family problems, or organizing gatherings. How is that a boundaries issue?
So most of our boundaries issues come from our early family life. And they're going to be based on our roles with our siblings and our parents, or if we didn't live in a traditional family, whoever that early group that cared for us was. And we took on roles in those groups based on what made sense at that time. And if you're the oldest child or you're the youngest child, you're going to take on a very different role. So often, if you're the oldest child, your parents are going to hold you responsible for helping out with your younger siblings. If you're the youngest child, you're going to spend a lot of time being dragged around in the car going to your older siblings' activities and just sitting around while they're playing soccer or whatever they're doing, right? Because no one can leave you home alone. So you take on a very different role. And what happens is if we don't think about it, which most of us don't, then we continue to fall into roles that are familiar to us as we grow up. So, especially with our family, even though that we're all adults, we're still going to fall into those roles. So if I'm the oldest, I'm going to naturally be the one that my siblings turn to for guidance or a final decision or at least input. If I'm the youngest, I might naturally be the one that my siblings still disregard. And so it's helpful to think about those roles, really just to shine the light on them and to do some self-discovery and to say, gosh, what role did I play when I was young? But also understand that the role that you played when you were young made sense when you were young based on the group you were in. But you don't have to keep repeating that if it's not comfortable for you, or if it disempowers you, or if it stresses you out. So if you're very conscious about what role you want to play, then you can start practicing that. And it can be gradual. If you're a youngest, you can start voicing your opinion a little bit more and seeing how your siblings respond to it. If you're an oldest, you can say, okay, well, I don't really care about these two things. Let me just have my siblings handle it and see, and not interfere. And so you can practice, and each time you practice a little something, that changes the dynamic.
That sounds like it would change everything. And again, there's that blurriness of habits, the habits that are just there. And I love what you're saying about shining the light on it and looking at it with the freedom to choose. I'm hearing freedom in what you're saying. So even though boundaries sometimes feel like there's not as much freedom, but really it's bringing more freedom in to choose.
Yes, that's a great way of looking at it. Like I get to decide how much control I want to take.
Mm.
And it may be eye-opening that I don't have to. But I've worked with clients that have siblings because their most stressful relationships often are with their siblings. And I've had clients say, why do I always have to? Why do
Ah,
I always have to? And
right.
and and so the big antidote to that is you don't always have to, but you have to start believing that. And the only way you're going to believe that is by reminding yourself that you don't have to and then making that choice as
Right.
asserting that freedom, right?
Right. Right. Again, that self-awareness that has to come online and caring for ourselves, taking care of ourselves, choosing what will most empower. You mentioned that word earlier too.
Yeah, absolutely.